Good afternoon, good evening around the world. Thank you so much for joining us on this important conversation about one of the most important economies in the world, Nigeria and the region around it. My name is Doug Brunke. I'm the founder and CEO of Global Chamber. We're helping companies reach new markets and opportunities around the world. And we're very fortunate today to have our executive director located with Global Chamber Lagos, Adesola-Debbie, who will be moderating today's conversation. I do want to kick off with some facts about Nigeria so that we're all up to speed. Nigeria is Federal Republic of Nigeria officially. It's a coastal country on the Gulf of Guinea. It's in West Africa, of course. It's bordered by Niger to the north, Chad to the northeast, Cameroon to the east, and Benin to the west. And that's actually a country that I know a lot about because in junior high, I wrote a very detailed report, and I still remember it. It had a different name at the time, but I know that area very well from junior high. It's a federal republic with 36 states. The capital territory contains the capital of Abuja. It was declared a federal republic in October 1st, 1963. The official language is English. There are 3 national languages, and then there are many other languages used within the country. It's led by President Muhammadu Buhari. I apologize if I mispronounced that. And some of the key economics are that it's the 23rd largest GDP country in the world of 1.275 trillion estimated for this year, US dollars. In land, it's the 32nd largest country, and in population, it's the 7th largest country, 206 million estimated today. So those are some of the facts, including the fact that it's got the 3rd largest population of young people in the world of any country. And so there's a lot going on. There's a lot of opportunity. And so Adesola, thank you so much for taking us through with 2 really spectacular business people who know the area and can share more. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure, my pleasure. Okay, so my name is Adesola-Debbie DARAMOLA. I'm the founder of Adesola Concept and executive director for Global Chamber Lagos, Nigeria. So we have with us 2 very sound, and like as I call them, they're gurus. They're sound speakers for export and agriculture. They're very good at what they do, and you're in for a good time today. We have Mr. Awe, Mr. Kola Awe, and the ambassador Adeniyi. And it's over to you. So, Mr. Awe, could you please tell us a bit about yourself?
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, dear audience. My name is Kola Awe. I'm a trained lawyer. Well, I've been an exporter for about 21 years now. I've been involved in the export of commodities across the manufacturing and the agro sector. Aside from export, I'm also heavily involved in the business of logistics. I've been involved in logistics for the past 15 years, and I've been responsible for market access for most Nigerian multinational companies in the West African sub-region. Our company, XPT Logistics, have opened up market for like 10 multinational companies. In order to progress in the area of export, I'm also the publisher of Export World. I produced and presented the first export TV program in Nigeria in 2005 to 2007. We have won several awards in the area of export. In order to develop what the Global Chamber is doing, we have a platform. We also created a platform in 2018 called Nigerian e-export. The Nigerian e-exports is to connect markets and bring people together to be able to access market. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. So today's topic, the theme for the webinar today is Nigeria as an emerging market and trade opportunities. Could you tell us a bit about that on export, from export angle?
Yeah, basically, yeah, it's nice to talk about export today when it comes to the markets in the global market. Nigeria is a key player in the global market, but albeit we have not been able to tap the essence of the potentials that we have in our export industry. The export industry can be divided into the agriculture, the manufacturing, the solid minerals, and the service industry. If I decide to take it one by one, it's going to take us a lot of time. But let me look at the agricultural sector. Nigeria has their major traditional exports that we are known for globally, all over the world. We're talking about our cocoa, our ginger, dry squeeze ginger. We're talking about the sesame seed. We're talking about the shea butter, the shea nuts. But if you look at all these agricultural products, you find out that Nigeria still live in the realm of raw material export, which is where there's a huge opportunity for investment in Nigeria. We're still in the realm of raw materials. The figures are alarming, and I'll try to give you some of those figures as we go on in this webinar. For example, Nigeria is arguably the fourth largest exporter of cocoa in West Africa, third largest exporter of cocoa in West Africa, with about 380 to 400,000 metric tons. But in 2017, Nigeria's name was not among the top 10 exporting company in processed cocoa. That is amazing compared to countries like Ghana, compared to countries like Cote d'Ivoire, who are the first and second largest exporter of cocoa in West Africa. So you see that there's a room. We have the arable land, the lands are there. 90% of the lands outside the state capital, like the 36 states capital, are arable land, and they are good for agri. But the issue is agro-commodity production is very low. Then agro-commodity value addition is also extremely very low. Then agro-commodity export in terms of the value addition is also very low. Another product I'd like to give an example for you is the cashew nuts. Nigeria is the second largest producer of cashew nuts in the world, with about 1 million metric tons after Vietnam, which has about 1.2 metric tons. Then India has the third. But if you look at processed cashew, the export of processed cashew, Nigeria is barely doing less than 2%. Less than 2%. So 98% of our raw materials are going in raw. That is a huge opportunity for investment. Investment in terms of technology, investment in terms of equipment, investment in terms of machinery. It cuts across all board when we're looking at opportunities in the agri sector. The same thing goes for leather. We have leather. Nigeria I think is about the 15th leather producing company in the world. And the global market for leather, it's about $85 billion. In 2016, Nigeria did only $500 million export of raw leather. So which means that there's a huge gap between the raw materials and the value addition, which is across board. A ton of cashew nuts today, which is the one with the shell, is roughly about, it's up in dollars, about $1,000. It's about $1,000. Well, equivalent ton of cashew kernels in the global market, it's about $7,000. That is the gap between the value addition. And that's one gap that Nigeria is losing out. And it cuts across the entire product. If you look at the cocoa industry, which is the confectionaries, the global market for confectionaries is about $120 billion. Nigeria exported less than $500 million of raw cocoa. If we have the basic infrastructures here in Nigeria, the basic logistics are in place, the basic equipment, then it is better for Nigeria as a country or investors to come into Nigeria and see how they can invest in the Nigerian market. The same goes for other commodities. The hibiscus flower. The hibiscus flower is about $4.6 billion in Mexico alone. Today, Nigeria is still exporting raw hibiscus flower. The challenges are huge. When we want to talk about the challenges are there. But I believe that in the place of challenges, that's where the solution comes. And in the place of solution, that's where the hidden business and opportunities are. And when you're looking at hidden business and opportunity, I think they are much more in Africa. The world knows that 75% of the food in the near future is going to come from Africa, because it's only Africa that we have vast expanse of arable land, untapped land, on farmed land, and that means there's a huge opportunity and market in terms of food production in the entire side of Africa. So, well, we're saying that an investor coming into the country in the agri sector should consider, aside from food production, aside from food storage, aside from export, should consider the value addition. We all know the importance of value addition in that sector. The labor, in terms of job creation, it's very massive. In terms of export earning also, it's extremely very massive. Then if I take a dovetail into the manufacturing sector, I'll try to touch all the sectors in bits and pieces. The manufacturing sector. Nigerian manufacturing sector is being dominated by the SMEs. 80% of this is dominated by small, medium enterprises. And Nigerian major market for this manufacturing sector, manufacturing products is within Africa. We are not highly competitive outside Africa. We are only competitive outside Africa as it relates to Nigerians in diasporas or African in diasporas, and the figure are not as huge as in the entire Africa. So Africa opening up with the African Continental Free Trade Area, it's another huge opportunity for investment. We all know what an economic bloc stands for. Some of us have experienced what happened in the European Union when they set up the economic bloc. The Africa is coming up with the African Continental Free Trade Area. That simply means we're going to have one single economic bloc of about 1.2 billion population. That's huge and humongous market away from the 200 million market in Nigeria. So, and that comes with a lot of benefits alongside that line. There's a lot of huge benefits. The programs and protocols that are going to come with the African Continental Free Trade Area, such as free movement of goods and services, and then tariff and non-tariff barriers will be removed. That means goods can move freely within West African community, African community. It's an opportunity for investment. But I'll give you an example of what is going on now. We have a lot of foreign companies that have established in Nigeria, the likes of, I don't know whether I need to mention names. They are all established structures in Nigeria, but they are foreign companies. They are based in Europe, but they have come to Nigeria to establish, to take advantage of the current one that we are practicing now, the ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme. The whole essence of establishing in Nigeria is to be able to capture the ECOWAS market. And the ECOWAS market is about 300 million population. That's another huge opportunity. And what it says is, I can export my goods from Nigeria to Ghana without paying duty. And when I don't pay duty in Ghana, it means other similar goods, competitive goods coming in from third country, they still have to go through that duty process. And the duty band as low as high as 35% and as low as 5%. So that is in the manufacturing sector. There's a huge opportunities in establishing structures in Nigeria, in establishing industries in Nigeria to be able to capture the entire Africa country. Nigeria alone has a population of 200 million people. We are the third largest producer of labor in the world after India and China. And we have everything that it takes in terms of capacity to build the capacity of our youth to be able to align with this area. So I'll try to say, let us look at the solid mineral sector, which is another key area. The potentials in the solid mineral sectors is quite huge. Nigeria has not touched any element in the solid mineral sector. Estimated gold estimate in Nigeria is about 50,000 ounces. And this is available in about 10 states in Nigeria. The bitumen that we have in Nigeria is about 27 billion barrels equivalent of oil. The coal in Nigeria have not been touched, about 2.7 billion tons. Iron ore is estimated to be about 3 billion tons. Limestone is estimated to be about 2.23 billion tons. Barite estimated about 40 million tons. We have lead and sulfide. These are huge areas looking and asking for investors that can come and explore and take advantage of all these deposits. Nigeria has a lot of solid minerals. Recently, two companies, one from China, I think one from Germany, they were given a license to mine gold in Nigeria. And the company alone, I think they came with an investment worth about $500 million. And I believe such companies have been able to see the potentials in the gold industry. And it's not only in the gold industry, we have the limestone, we have the iron ore, we have the coal. So Nigeria begs currently for investment in this solid mineral sector. I also like to look at the logistics sector. This is one other area that Nigeria demands and needs investors. The logistics industry, infrastructure industry in Nigeria is very low. Compared to the GDP, it's about 20%. If you compare it to the countries like South Africa that is earning about 39%, you find out that there's a deficiency in the infrastructure. A major deficiency in infrastructure is in the logistics side, the roads, the mode of transporting agricultural products, the mode of transporting agricultural. Till today, we do not have cold chain logistics that can move perishable goods from farm gate to the port or from farm gate to the airport. There's a huge need for cold chain logistics in terms of movement of goods and services. Then secondly, the cost of logistics are extremely very heavy in Africa. The reason that West Africa, and particularly Nigeria, the reason for that is the competition is quite low. There are few major key operators in the logistics industry, and they command and run monopoly, kind of monopoly of the industry by dictating exact price that logistics are going to be operated. A situation whereby more investors are coming into this, it will be able to break down this monopoly, and the cost of logistics will be able to serve well. I want to look at the service industry. The service industry revolves around technology. The financial inclusion in Nigeria currently is extremely on the low side. A lot of foreign companies are coming in here to try to take advantage of the financial inclusion. We have Flutterwave, we have Valve, we have Vista. They are trying to see how they can bring in almost everybody into the financial capital market. But this is very key. This is one area because the service industry alone contributes about 58% to the entire GDP. And this is being this is being operated between the finance and information technology. These two sectors are sectors where there's huge opportunity for investors to come in and invest in Nigeria. In Nigeria currently today, we have enough technology. We don't have enough technology that can run platforms, the e-platforms, the marketplace platforms. We don't have enough technology. There is opportunity for that. The companies like Cuba that came in to set up in Nigeria, as such, before the COVID-19, they had about 20,000 operators under Cuba alone. That is huge. It's a service industry. 20,000 car operators under Uber. And immediately Uber came into Nigeria, we started having other ones, Taxify, and everybody started coming into Nigeria because the service industry is very big. And they're looking at the population in Nigeria and the level of technology. And if those companies are coming in, they are coming with imported technology. So there's a lot of opportunities and also in the service sector. So I've been able to take some key areas here. I don't know if I have to go ahead because already post 419. So that we can see whether there's more input to make.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'm being cautious about the time. I'm being cautious about the time
yes.
because I have a lot.
I
have a lot here,
yes.
but I'm cautious about my timing.
Yeah, thank you very much. Do you want to say anything? Hello, Doug.
Hi there. Yeah, no, I'm listening, and we have some questions already coming in. So I would say for anybody else, as you listen to what you're hearing, put the questions into the Q&A box in the Zoom session, or you can email info@globalchamber.org, and we'll get your question asked. It looks like we have the ambassador back, so. Adesola, why don't you do the introduction there, and we'll keep moving.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. So we have Ambassador Adeniyi, who's the CEO of GoGreen Africa. It's an agriculture company, and it's very vast at that. I will just give him the opportunity to talk about himself, what he does, and what we need to hear. Ambassador, welcome back again. Sorry, it seems as if you have a network problem. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm with you, madam.
Okay, so yes, could you please introduce yourself let's know a bit of what you do, and then you take us through the topic today, Nigeria as an emerging market and trade opportunity in agriculture, since that's your area of specialty.
Okay, thank you very much. Once again, I'm sorry for this break. I'm actually in the farm. So my name is Adeniyi. The Executive Director of GoGreen Africa Initiative. iHeal Holdings is my main company, but GoGreen Africa is a platform where we do agribusiness advocacy, capacity building, training, and empowerment. We discovered that there is this huge gap in the agribusiness knowledge in Nigeria. When I came back from my training in Israel, I discovered that we operate majorly in Nigeria as an agricultural country, while other nations are operating as an agribusiness country. The meaning of this is agric has actually passed the level of producing, like I heard my Oga Barrister were talking the other time. It has passed the area of you producing without value addition, producing for just production. Your output per a specific hectare of land, you can't be compared with other nations. So when I came back, we started GoGreen Africa to enlighten farmers in Nigeria about the basic and the best agronomic procedure by teaching them what to do, how to do these things. And it has been great for this couple of years. Majorly, like he said the other time, Nigeria is a great country with a lot of potential in agriculture and international trade. We have a lot of things that can really take us to the next level. But the unfortunate thing is value addition is key. We are not really good in adding value to some of this produce. So we just sell out our produce without value addition. So the potential is there in production. The awareness, currently, the volume of involvement in agriculture in Nigeria, in agribusiness is becoming so big that if we can really do a lot in the area of value addition, innovative approach to some aspect of agric, Nigeria is going to be one of the best country to look at for in the area of agribusiness and agri commodity. So for people in diaspora, Nigeria has the potential to really service a lot of power. Like Oga said the other time, we're looking at commodities like cashew. You're looking at commodities like cocoa. Currently, we are promoting the Hass avocado, which is another lovely, highly sought after all over the world fruit. And the good news is that it grows in Nigeria. So currently, we are operating a lot of hectares. It's a new product which is less than a year that Nigerians are keen into, and our mandate is to have 1 million farmers with just an hectares of Hass avocado. Another thing that is currently being sought after in Nigeria now is OFSP. That is the orange flesh sweet potato.
Sweet potato.
Yes, we have clients calling us from Netherlands, majorly from Europe. The three varieties grows very well in our climate, especially the Solo goat, which is the most sought after in Europe, grows like flowers. Yeah, so we are really doing a lot in that aspect. So once again, I want to say that Nigeria is a place to look out for. A lot of us are really changing the whole narrative by maximizing our production, involving innovative approach, and also going commercial, unlike what we used to do before. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ambassador. I'll just try to pull you a bit back. Could you please tell more about the orange sweet potato? Because I know I saw you say something about that, some other platform, so that for Nigerian audience who can learn a bit about that.
Yes, orange flex sweet potato is a variety of sweet potato that is vitamin A enhanced. It's actually a project from Bill and Melinda Gates in some couple of years to fight the vitamin A deficiency, that is the VAD. You know, we discovered some 7 years ago there's this huge issue around VAD all over Africa, in sub-Saharan Africa, where 70% of children lack vitamin A in their food. So the the research came out of that. Okay, what is that staple food that can enhance that? So potato was picked, and the orange flesh sweet potato came out. Now the beautiful thing is it contains a lot of almost all the vitamins, and it contains a lot of beta carotene, and vitamin A is massive, so that it's good for almost everyone, from father to the mother to the children. Everybody can take orange flesh sweet potato. Lovely. It's just 3 months. It takes 3 months for you to grow, and you can do 2 to 3 times in a year. So lovely. You can cook it. You can boil it. You can fry it. You can do anything with it. You can make puri with it. You can make wine with it, juice with it. You can make you can do bakeries. Just the potential is there for you. And the beautiful thing, no matter how you process it, each of those vitamins and those nutritional values keep increasing based on the value of process.
So we probably see the likes of pharmaceutical companies going for this, right?
Yes, there are lots of inquiries, but commercially, we are not currently doing that volume, but we are sensitizing, we are creating the advocacy. So a lot of people are coming on board. Like today, we've been able to churn out over 10,000 kg of vines. And we are doing a program now in the West where we want to empower women to be able to plant OFSP at the back of their house. Now, let me tell you, the vegetable, the leaves, the green leaves is also very good as a source of vegetable, both for human consumption and animal consumption. Very lovely. No part of it is wasted. No single part of it that is wasted.
All right. Joe, thank you very much. Doug, do you have, would you like to take over from here now?
Well, we do have some questions, gentlemen, but I also want to give Adesola, is there anything else that you want to frame up in terms of opportunities that you're seeing in Nigeria?
Oh, well, basically, the two opportunities I see in Nigeria are the export and agricultural sector in Nigeria. We see that a lot of focus is on oil, which is why we were like, okay, you know what? A lot of Nigerians don't even know what we have in Nigeria. And our reason for initiating the export in Nigeria, of which Barrister Kola has been one great supporter and facilitator for. So basically, the major things we have for people to look into Nigeria would be the export sector, would be the agriculture sector, would also be the tourism sector. Maybe we can hold on that some other time for the tourism aspect. But and which was why also I thought, okay, this would be the best thing to talk about on trade opportunities in Nigeria as an emerging market. Okay.
Well, that sounds good. Ambassador, are you still there? Can you hear us? I see you're muted. We have a question for you. If you can unmute and we'll ask you. We're having a little trouble with probably the Wi-Fi there. So you might need to, oh, there we go.
Okay, I think it's back, yeah.
Great. Mr. Ambassador, we have a question for you, and it relates to your time in Israel. And in terms of learnings that you had there, when you came back to Nigeria, what were some of the things you saw as the biggest opportunities to change in Nigeria in terms of maybe technology? Is it fertilizer, drone technology, crop management? What are some of the things that impassioned you to bring back?
Yes, a lot. Thank you very much. The first thing is, it's quite different from the way we operate back home. Everything you do, you know what you're doing. You understand the input, you understand the output ratio, you understand the reason you want to do what you're doing. Unlike back home, where we just plant, for planting's sake, they plant basically on contract or demand. There is demand for what you are doing already. There's a market. And everything, for example, if you are doing a plantain on an hectare of land, you know how many suckers of plantain that will go to this hectare. You know the volume of water that is required. You know that you have an irrigation system. Even fertigation system in place, and you can remotely operate these on your phone. You know when your plants need the water. So everything is so easy because of technology. But back home, we don't have that kind of information. We don't have that type of knowledge. But coming back home, the first thing I did deliberately was to begin to talk about my experience. And in sharing my experience and practicing the little I can in the area of irrigation, for example, we are, before my trip, I'm just a fully rain-fed farmer. We only farm when there is rain. So after rain, we go back to sleep. So I understand the place of irrigation system. I understand the place of drip irrigation system, which is a direct and precise type of irrigation. I understand the type of pivoting. So I understand a lot. Like you are like a baby at my age. I just got in. I'm just like a baby that is about to learn. Like I know nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It doesn't even fit in. So it took me, because I stay in the kibbutz system. So in one of the village in the kibbutz system, I learned a lot. So getting back home, when I started talking to people and I start practicing little, it turned me to a local champion. Whereby you want to plant, you know the distance between a plant and the other. You make sure that they are on straight line. Where they use tractors, and we can get tractors here, we just make a line and we peg our layout and we use our ridge. So a farmer comes to my farm, I would like, oh, this your ridge is smooth and straight. So, okay, this is how to do it. And we've been able to do that. Fine, we don't have that technology yet. Some of those innovation like the GPS system, mapping system, and every of those things, we don't have them yet, but we are growing every day. We are using what we have. Like I tell people, we use the local available resources to achieve, and we keep growing. But thank God, every day as they go by, we are getting to know about new things. Now we have a lot of irrigation system in Nigeria. Almost all our plants now, we use drip irrigation system. We are doing fertigation. We understand our output versus our input ratio. We are growing every day. And it's a lovely thing. That trip is an eye opener. Is an eye opener for me.
Well, so Mr. Awe, then what the ambassador's saying is really the key thing there is management, the process, the overall process of understanding it. That has some really potential positive implications for what you talked about, which was moving upstream, really basically, right? Adding value. So rather than just producing cocoa and ginger and shea butter, is making the production there in Nigeria as well. What is your reaction to what the ambassador is saying relative to some of the things that you talked about?
Basically, management is very key. Let me say one other thing to what my brother, the ambassador, just said. When you're talking about technology in the agricultural sector, it's coming up. It's coming up unlike what we have in the last 5-10 years. Today in Nigeria, you see greenhouses scattered all over the place. There are a lot of greenhouses in up country, down country. You see a lot of greenhouses coming up because people are getting to find out that there's a need to meet up with production all year round. Yeah. We have retail markets all over the place that sell food products and food-related products, and they want it fresh, they want it in good quality, and they want it delivered on time. So the technology implications is coming up very soon. The government also introduced some form of technology. They call it e-wallet. I don't know whether the ambassador know about it. E-wallet. You get every information that you need on your phone as far as agri management it's concerned. Then they are talking about management. Management is key in every sector. Management is key in every sector. There's a need for management. There's a need for processes. There's a need for structures. There's a need for everything that you need to make the business succeed. Even in export, even in value addition. The value addition is even a little bit simpler because first of all, you have the raw materials here in Nigeria. Like he is a farmer. If he is farming cashew nut, for example, all I need to do is to have my industry located very close to where the farmers are. and I'll be able to get regular supply. Put in place storage management, because they are all seasonal products, which is one of the management area. They are seasonal products. So I must have a proper storage facility that can make it possible for me to have supply all year round. Those are the areas we're looking at for investors in Nigeria. Those are the areas. We're looking at areas in terms of storage. We're looking at investors in terms of food production. And I want to believe that for anybody to come into any particular industry, the first thing he wants to do is due diligence. He wants to do his SWOT analysis. He wants to do his risk. What
Very necessary.
In value addition. We have, like I said, we have a lot of challenges. We have infrastructural challenges. We have energy challenges. The light is not constant. So there are industries that are running on generators for the past 7-10 years consistently.
Yeah.
So those challenges are key. But in those challenges, that's where the investment is. That's where the innovation is. And that's where the solution lies in. And that's why we're saying today that Nigeria is a virgin land for investors. If you look at our foreign direct investment flow, it was between 2014 to 2017. It was huge. It was huge. It's just coming down recently because of the security issues that we're having. But the truth of the matter is that investment in agriculture, either in food production, either in food storage, or either in logistics, agricultural logistics, or value addition and export is key. The entire value chain in Africa needs investment. That's the point. The entire value chain, whether by way of technology, whether by way of management, there's an opening, there's an investment potential in those areas.
Wow. No, it sounds very, very promising. Absolutely. But related to a couple questions we have in the chat room, so keep your questions coming and we'll get to them. We are going to be wrapping up in about 20 minutes, so we have about 20 minutes for questions. So relative to both what you both spoke about relative to investment, it sounds like it's a good time. And so the two questions we have related to investing in Nigeria, one is from an anonymous attendee that Nigeria is known for scam businesses. How do we avoid that? How do we know, how do we do the due diligence? And then the other question that's related to that is to Mr. Awe, how independent is Nigeria's legal system with regards to upholding business contracts between private investors and the government? So both of these questions are really related. How safe is it to invest in Nigeria? Could you both give your thoughts on that?
Oh, okay. Basically, there's some. Before we started this program, I asked you a question that what is the basis, what is the motive for you to set up the global chambers? And one of the things you said is that international business is very complex and involve a lot of international laws and regulations. And for you to succeed, you need to have a knowledge of the entire laws and regulations that governs it. And you cannot be in the same place at the same time. So you need key, reliable contacts, networks that can work with you. The problem of scam lies in the provision of your solution. When you have key, reliable contacts that have been verified, that due process, background check has been done with, then you have very little issues of scam. The scam thing, it's coming out of the fact that you're just shopping in the dark. You don't know anybody, so you just want to shop in the dark. You end up buying anything. But when you have key people that you can talk to, I'm an exporter for many years. I have representative in China. I have in India. I have in Turkey. So I don't want to, if I'm doing anything in Turkey, I have somebody I'm going to talk to. I know him. I've visited his home. I know somebody is going to tell me the entire procedure. He's not going to think of making money for us. He's thinking of making my business succeed so our relationship can continue. So the key to avoid scam is building network, credible and strong network. And then also one other areas people tend to overlook is, like you said, is in the legal system. You're doing business with Nigeria, you're not taking advantage of the various associations in the country. You're not googling. You can go to Google and Google associations that are responsible for SMEs in Nigeria. You will see them. They all come out. You see their contract number. Then you can communicate with them. I want to do business with XYZ, and I don't know. I need somebody to say something about the XYZ for me. Or you go to a lawyer. You can go to a legal practitioner and say, I'm going to pay you a few couple of dollars, but I need a background check for this company. Can you just run a search on this company for me? I want to know the directors who are there. So those are the things. But the thing is that a lot of people are excited at the opportunities that is in Nigeria and the opportunities to make so much money in Nigeria, and they just want to come into Nigeria to make money. At the end of the day, they fall into the wrong traps.
Absolutely.
When they fall into the wrong traps, the whole Nigeria are responsible. There's scammers all over the world. There's scammers all over the world.
Yeah.
It's for you to do your due diligence in anything you want to do. And stay away from cheap money. That's the rule. Stay away from cheap money. Work, do business, and then you make money. You make your money.
Yep.
I'll give you an instance. A real instance. There's somebody from China that came into Nigeria. He deposited $1 million in my account, and he wanted to buy crude oil to be exported by container. And I made my search, and I found out that you cannot export crude oil by container, and the permits and licenses that you need to get, they are much. So I told him, you cannot do this business. He said, no, people are doing it. I said, if people are doing it, I'm not doing it. And he went out and was looking for people that can do it. After telling him that this thing is illegal. Crude oil goes in pipe. They don't go in containers, in drums. Then you put them inside the container, or you put them in the flexi tank, and you want to put it inside the container. That's the way it is. It's a two-way thing. But it's good for us to do our due diligence. The rule one is do your due diligence. Go to global chambers. If you look at the Nigeria e-export, there's a place. I'll put a place there. Background check.
Yeah. So actually, Ambassador, it relates to what you talked about.
Business, yeah.
The management of farming is the same idea of management of your trade, right? There's a process involved. You have to think more than just going out and seeing if it's raining or not and doing whatever. In trade, there are other things you need to do. So Ambassador, you probably also you do good business. It's honest. It's high integrity. You see the scams. And so how do you suggest people get away from that? Certainly having a process helps getting away from that, I'm sure.
Yes, like he said, it's the same thing. You have to do due diligence. And if you are dealing with anyone, you want to invest in agriculture, you need to understand what are the requirements. The scam in terms of production might be little because you are getting properties, you want to talk to your lawyer, or you can talk directly to the state or the government of where you want to set up your farm. Then when you get the right consultants to set up the project for you, where I think you can have a problem is knowing the right person to do the right thing for you. So because it's purely a day-to-day kind of thing. So you want to go to farm, you want to do the basic thing. There's nothing to be scam about that. But the only thing is, if you are buying land you want to get a huge expanse of land and you are not talking to the right people, they might sell an acquisition, government-acquired land to you as a private person. And when you get there, you want...
Oh, you're on mute, Ambassador. Oh, there you go.
You're on mute, Ambassador.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Okay, it's on done.
But usually in agric, if we have a lot of foreign companies having farms down here, it's like the hinting now. Everybody is coming in to have the labor is cheaper.
Yeah.
The land is cheaper. Almost all the resources is cheaper. It's better if you can do, and how big it is better. So we don't really have problem in that area because it's physical. So.
Oh.
You're muted again.
You said something about how easy is it to do business in Nigeria?
It's easy to do business in Nigeria. Especially when you want to do a legal business. Don't come to Nigeria with the mindset of, oh, let me cut corner. No,
If you're ready to do good business, there are good people. You talk to the right people, you will enjoy Nigeria. Nigeria is a peaceful, lovely place. The major problem we have is just our reputation. We are not
getting the wrong.
We are better than what you see out there. But it's unfortunate we don't really have a lot of people talking about our positive side. We are great people, a great nation, lovely people. We'll make you happy and you will be impressed to work with us. But don't come to this place with the mentality of, oh, they don't know anything. Let me just do this. Please, come with the right mindset and you will enjoy yourself. It's a lovely place. Highly exposed and people.
Let me add more to what Ambassador said. When you look at the ease of doing business, global ranking for ease of doing business in the world, before now, like 2014 and 2019, Nigeria was number 189. 189. Today, we are 131, 139, thereabout. We are growing in the ease of doing business. We're removing the blockages, the challenges, the pitfalls that is making room for delays and corruption. Nigeria is doing everything that they can to make it easier for foreigners to come in, investors to come in and invest. You have a one-day registration. You can register your company in a day, 100% equity. You don't need a local man or a local man with yourself. No, you can do it 100%, and you can do it in one day. So the ease of doing business is we're moving up the rank globally. And what does that translate to? It translates to confidence. It translates to trust. That it's easy to do business and it's not that difficult to do business in Nigeria.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I also had Doug, please. Well, a minute. Sorry. Yes, please. I also would like to add. Yeah, I would also like to add here too that that's why we have Global Chamber here in Nigeria. So you can reach out to us. You can reach out through me. So we'll link you up, and you can also join in as a member. As a member, there are a whole lot of things to enjoy from being being part of a Global Chamber. So it's one of the, as Barrister Awe said, it's one of those networks that you can trust to get the right thing, to link to the right people. So yeah, that's one way to go about it too. If you want to do business in Nigeria.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, our intent with Global Chamber is to have a trusted network everywhere. And so we don't work with people that are not trusted. So we really appreciate all three of you, you know, in terms of your backgrounds and what you do, and anybody else that would like to get involved with business in Nigeria, either located there or into the country. One other question that we have, I think Danielle had asked about the permits and the ease of business, and I think Mr. Awe answered that question about the setting up a company in one day, and so it's getting easier to set up in Nigeria. That's good news. Could you each explain a little bit more about how coronavirus and the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted? We did an event on Africa a few weeks ago, and it was quite optimistic about how the pandemic actually is opening up some new opportunities. Is that what you see, and where are the opportunities?
I tell you, I have a strong belief in every challenge. There's a huge volume of opportunities awaiting you, and I think the coronavirus has opened up a huge level of opportunity for Nigeria and for Africa alone, particularly in the area of agriculture. It has opened up a huge opportunity. Let me give you an instance. I was part of this program. Airplanes were sent to Nigeria during the COVID-19 to pick up foodstuff, agro-produce for Europe. I'm saying it. For Europe, they sent airplanes to Nigeria for them to be able to have agricultural produce, for them to be able to contain themselves in their country. That's one whole lot of opportunities that the ginger. Nigeria is one of the largest producers of ginger, second largest in the world after China. And you notice that one of the agro produce for COVID-19 is ginger. Before the COVID-19, the price of a ginger per ton was about 300,000 naira. That's about $1,000. Currently now, it's about $5,000 for 1 ton. So there's huge opportunity in the ginger, in the garlic, in the food produce for Africa. It has opened up that for Nigeria. And Nigerians are really taking advantage of that. Then secondly, in the area of IT, like for example, Nigerians are getting to find out that you can do business without leaving your home. You can have meetings without leaving your home. And if you're in those creative industry, you find out that there's a lot of opportunities that you can do. There's one I'm putting up now. I'm doing a short code. I call it Export Help. Export Help. You want to help on export, any question, anything you want to know about export, anything, where to source, how to source, quality specification, just type it on your phone and do what? Send it, it's going to come to us, the short code, and then we answer you and get it back to you. We can send it by email or basically on the same short code. So it's bringing up opportunities, a lot of opportunities. In the past, we used to trade. I trained for Nigerian Export Promotion Council. I'm one of their consultants on trainings. And most of the time, I train physical. 500 people, 200 people, 50 people staying in a class. Then I have to train them on practical export, which goes on for 8 sessions. But today, the trainings are taking place on Skype. They are taking place on Zoom. They are taking, so the opportunities are huge. And lately, so let me confess, I now find that you can even charge people to pay. When I saw your flyer, though, when I saw the flyer that there's a fee that some people have to pay for them to be able to access, I said, okay, that's another opportunity. So aside from doing it on the free base, you can also monetize it a little, and then you can have more people to take part in the training than 50 people that you normally do. So it has opened up. It has opened up a lot, even in the logistics aspect. The logistics business is opening up like huge. Delivery business is big business. I own off-takers deliveries. We have motorbikes all over the place. The demand during the COVID and after COVID is huge. It's huge. So in the manufacturing sector, there's a lot, particularly those producing essential products. It's a big business. They've been smiling to the bank for during the COVID area. In the logistics industry, that is one big business that will be going on also. So the COVID has brought up some bad news in some certain area, but there's some good news in some certain area for Nigeria.
Sure.
It looks like we might have lost the ambassador, so we've only got about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So hopefully that'll work out okay. Did he come back? No, not yet. Okay. So we've got a couple more questions, and so we'll handle those. Let's see. So, actually, yeah, from Wole, the question around Nigeria that you've talked, both you and the ambassador, about larger scale farming, certainly generally farming production. What are the issues related to the fact that so many families own businesses, and how are they going to be able to potentially bring these farms together? Do you see what kind of changes do you see within the country relative to family farming to more agribusiness?
Yeah, well, basically the agriculture is, like he said, the ambassador said, is moving to agribusiness. And the good thing is that they are innovating a lot of technology into the agribusiness, which is taking the business away from family enterprise kind of agriculture, like we used to have in the past. Currently, they have some things, agribusiness. From county, they pull a pool of people together to own a particular farm, and then they invest in the farm, and then they get profit from the farm. There are also some concepts they call farmers without land. So it's moving away from family ownership business in the agricultural business. It's not coming up. Technology is opening up the horizon for more people, more stakeholders, and more operators to come into the business in the agricultural sector. The age-long subsistence farming is moving out. Nigeria is gradually moving to commercial farming. In the past, the farming structure, agricultural sector used to be basically for sustenance, which is owned by families. The family owns a farmland, this one, another family owns. But now it's going into commercial because the demand for some of our agricultural produce are increasing every day, and more people are coming into the business because it's one area of business that the government has given a lot of attention to.
Makes sense. So, oh, there's the ambassador. Great.
He's
So,
back.
so we've only got about 2 minutes left, gentlemen. So it's time to do a wrap up. And so, Ambassador, thank you for coming back. We were just asking about the agribusiness, the shift to agribusiness, and your thoughts about that. Could you just say a few closing words about maybe your view of what agribusiness is headed? If there's anything to say that you want to talk about the Africa CFTA and its impact on investment in Nigeria, and anything else that you'd like to share within a couple minutes?
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. The surge is huge now. The volume of people coming into agribusiness in Nigeria is massive. But what we're trying to do as stakeholders is to make sure that we keep the standard, and we don't want bad experience or time of where you have bad feedback, where you're just coming into the business, you don't really have the major information you need, because it's driven by information. It's driven by information and knowledge. So what we are doing, I'm also with the Nigeria Institute of Agribusiness Management. So what we do, our new project is to have something like a fact sheet, a kind of documentation that you can.
You have muted.
Oh, you're on mute. There you go.
This document is what you can do in a particular state. For example, the ginger, we know the bed that is good for ginger. Or you want to go into onion, you know the states to go to. You want to go into cashew production, you know where to go to. So this it be the basic information, so that you don't just do the right thing and in the wrong place. So that is really helping a lot of people. The younger generation are really motivated. They are coming because we really need them. At the end of the day, they are the one that will take it to the next level. So agric in Nigeria is going massively, and we want to see a situation whereby
I feel like sunlight came in there, or the great light of knowledge. Thank you very much. And so, Mr. Awe, could you also maybe just summarize anything else that you'd like to conclude before we finish up?
What I'll say, there's a question here. The person was talking about how easy the export of this produce and the Pest Act, which is one of the major problems that most of our produce are facing in terms of export. Some of Nigerian products have been banned in some African countries because of certifications and traceabilities and all those. Those have raised a lot of questions for us, which is also key areas for investors. I say in every problem there's a solution, and the solution is a business. If Nigeria is having challenges in exporting their produce, which is one of the reasons why value addition is low, because we don't have the precursor certification to export to Europe, which is where the huge market is. So we have to export to China, where they will process and then export back to Europe. Or we export to India, where they process, then export back to Europe. Why? It's all about certification. It's all about due process. It's all about quality. It's all about storage. It's all about variants of issues that are coming up. And in these issues lies solution. And in that solution lies investment. And in those investments, there are businesses. If I'm an expert, I think those are the areas I'll be looking at. I can come in with logistics, with storage systems, with certification systems, or so many things we can come up with so that these products can eventually go into Europe or other parts of the world. So in all, I believe Nigeria, that the world knows that with our GDP, we're the largest economy in Africa. With our GDP, everybody knows that the best place, the haven for investment, is in Nigeria. That's it. So if you're invested anywhere, you know the target is Nigeria. The AFCTA is for Nigeria and for Africa. That's the way we see it. We have 200 million, and now we have the market access to 1.2 billion. So that's an investment area for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you to the ambassador, both of you. As you mentioned, the coronavirus is having everyone around the world reevaluate their supply chain, and so it's a really great time to get invested in some of these opportunities that were talked about today. I'm going to turn it back over to Adesola for final comments, but I just wanted to say from headquarters here at Global Chamber, we encourage you to become involved with global trade, and there's nothing better than trusted people to work with like what you've seen today. So thank you, Mr. Awe. Thank you, Ambassador, if you can hear. And then Adesola, would you like to make a final comment?
Yes, and thank you, though, for the platform created to showcase in Nigeria what we have. And for our viewers, I want to tell you that it's fun to do business with Nigeria. Of course, there's no country that we don't have scammers, but then you have to do your due diligence. And for any business that you may want to do with Nigeria, you can come on. You can contact me on my Global Chamber email, or we can actually get contact from Doug or Caesar, and we'll help you we'll link you up with whoever you want to do business with. And that's the whole purpose of this webinar, to link up people, business, and the demand and supply. So we're like a bridge between demand and supply. So if you need anything, just call on us for credibility. That's Global Chamber. That's why Global Chamber was formed, so that we can do business. It's a chamber of commerce that is in over 525 communities worldwide. And that means that your product, your services get to be showcased or sold to a larger audience. And I'm sure for our Nigerian viewers, I'm sure you want to be a member. And to be a member, you can contact me. You know how to get me. My number is 081-790-32060. For those outside, +234 81-790-32060. I hope we all had fun. It's that, like I said, it was going to be entertaining. It was going to be enlightening, an eye-opener, and we look forward to people investing in Nigeria. Thank you, Mr. Barrister Awe, and Ambassador, and Doug, thank you so much for the platform. It's really good to be part of Global Chamber. Yes.
Our pleasure. Great conversation.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
Bill. Thanks.
Cheers. We'll be in touch.
Okay. All right.
Be in touch. Bye.